Lying on our back with the feet hip width apart, knees in line with the toes. We can have our hands on our hips and just first of all start with some pelvic tilts just to move into the lumbar spine and find a little bit of mobility there. So we're just going to rock backwards so the hips are going back and the lower back finds the floor, and slowly let the hips tip forward. So we just ease away from the mat, but ever so gently. So a small movement as we just tilt back and forth through the hips, the pelvis, and the lower back. Just finding a bit of mobility in the lumbar spine. And we just work with a couple more there, just loosening up to begin with. Then here we can settle into the center of those tilts. Become aware of the natural curves in your spine with the hips level and pointing up towards the ceiling. Let's feel, it's like the belly button now is going to draw in away from the waistband of the trouser to hollow between the hip bones. So we gently draw in the abdominal muscles, belly button towards the spine, but just notice we're not holding our breath. To become aware of our breath, as we place our hands across the rib cage, let the fingertips meet in the middle, relax the elbows and the shoulders, and on an in-breath, feel the ribs inflate as the ribs separate wide a little. And as you breathe out, the ribs draw down towards the hips and the belly button stays drawn in. So we breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, noticing a lateral thoracic breath. So the ribs are just expanding widthways across us. They settle back down towards the hips on the out breath. So we try and work with this breath as we exercise and as we move our body. As we maintain the tummy muscles drawing in, with your next out breath, lift up your left leg. The knee comes up above the hip. We hold and then lower. So take a breath in to prepare, and then a breath out to lift the other leg. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower. If you now want to let the arms rest beside you, you can, and just continue with this knee lift, stabilizing from the center. So keeping the belly button drawn in, so you feel the middle of the body is almost controlling this. As we lift one leg and then the other, try and feel we're keeping our body weight centered without shifting side to side. We'll just do a couple more on each side here. Relaxing the shoulders and lying on your back with the chin tucked in so you see the ceiling in front of you, not what's above, but in front. One more each side, and we just complete then with the opposite leg to where you started. Good, then bringing your feet together, your knees together so they're touching. And this time we'll come into our knee drop. Again, have your hands on your hips, and this is a great tool so you can feel that the hips are going to stay where they are. We're going to let one knee open just a little way to the side. Our knee drops out and then back in. So engaging through the center as before, belly button comes in away from the waistband of your trouser to you, changing legs each time. So we let one knee open out, only so far as the other leg stays still and then back in, changing sides. So as you feel the belly button connect inwards, it could be as if you're bringing your hip bones towards each other to meet in the middle. Clearly they're not moving, but that sensation. Good, so just do one more on each side, keeping your bottom glued to the mat. The other leg still as we stabilize the hips by engaging through the tummy. And then hug the knees to the chest. Bringing the knees in, we can circle the knees away and around, just mobilizing the lower back and the hips. And then popping the feet on the floor, the knees together again, and let the arms go wide. Here, just let the knees roll side to side gently. Feel that the upper body is anchoring you to the floor. With the belly button towards the spine, you feel the waist coming around you. And then allow your knees to go over to your left. And then let the top leg extend over the bottom leg. Take a look down the back arm and hold. Bending the knees and bringing the legs back to center. And then the other side. Good. Taking the top leg over the other one and looking down the other arm. Keeping the shoulders on the floor. Bringing the knees back to center. Settle again with your feet hip width apart. Arms close beside you. And we're just going to extend opposite arm and leg as you engage the belly button to the spine. So breathe out and extend. Breathe in to hold and then breathe out to release. Now, as the arm floats back, pay attention to the placement of your ribs. Feel you're drawing your ribs down towards your hips as the belly button connects in towards the spine. So our torso is fixed. So here, you may wish to let both arms float back as one arm extends, continuing with the belly button towards the spine, keeping that midsection of your body still as we remain in a neutral space. Again, notice the placement of your rib cage. Often with the weight of both arms going back, it's easy to let the ribs flare out or pop up. So use your out breath to guide the ribs down towards your hips as the belly button continues to connect in, creating tension in the torso. Just breathing out as you extend from the middle out. We'll do one more on each side, drawing the shoulders downwards as the arms float backwards. Good. Then here, let the arms open wide again, and we're going to come into tabletop. So a little bit more intense through the tummy muscles for connection. So allow one knee to lift up above the hip. Continue to hollow, draw the belly button in, and let the other leg lift without moving any other part of your body. So you remain centered as you lift the other leg. We're just going to take the knees side to side as you breathe. So let the upper body anchor you to the floor. Back of the arms, the back of the hands are on the floor with the palms up. The shoulder blades are lying flat on your mat. We're just moving through the hips, the waist, the lower back. And if you wish, as you take the legs to one side, we could extend the legs to that end of the room, then bend, and then bring the legs in and go the other way. So we could extend and then bend and then go the other way again. So you can choose to take the legs straighter if you wish, but if it's a little bit tiring on your lower back, please keep the knees bent instead. Let the upper body anchor you. So if you are straightening the legs, feel the shoulder blades stay on the floor. We're not lifting one arm or the other. We're anchoring and letting the arms stay down. So you should notice the muscles in the waist are coming in to help guide and control the legs. Let's do one more each side. Trying to complete on the other side to where you started. And then here, bringing both knees into your chest. Just hugging the knees in and out. And then we're going to curl up towards the knees, extend one leg, come into our single leg stretch. So just continue to change legs with each new breath. Keep the chin tucked in, and if you find your neck's a bit tense, please feel free to put your head down but do keep the chin tucked in, continuing to look forward. So leaving the head down if you prefer, curling up if you can. If you've curled up, the shoulder blades are off the mat. And here as the leg goes long and low, we're noticing the lower abdomen. So if we can, let's see if we can do maybe 3 or 4 more on each leg, but of course, rest before or instead if you prefer. And then we're just going to take a big, long, open stretch, lengthening out through the whole body, the midline and the front of the hips. Then we're going to roll over onto your side with straight legs. We can face the screen. And with your arm nice and long, we can let the head rest in the upper arm for support. And lie here with your hips stacked, one on top of the other. Feel the belly button draw in, the waist come up from underneath. All these muscles work together and co-contract. And we're going to start by lengthening the top leg and squeezing your bottom. So we don't need to go too high here. We're going to circle from the hip. Now, if it gets a bit wobbly, you can always bend the bottom leg underneath you for support, okay? We can have our hand in front of us, beside us, resting on the hip, or maybe we can create a bit more length and take the arm overhead. So we find space down the waist. If the arm is overhead, the bottom hand holds the top hand. But still really feel as you circle from the hip, we're connecting through the tummy to keep us stable. Let's take the circle in the other direction. Breathe out as you start the circle. Breathe in as it completes. Continue to squeeze the bottom. You should start to feel it down the outer thigh, outer buttock, hip, as we do 3 more circles from here. Good. Resting the legs when you're ready, bending your knees in front of you. Give the outer thigh a little bit of a tap. Here, with your knees bent, we'll come into the clam. So a little bit more for the outer part of the bottom. Hips are stacked, heels together. We open the top knee, squeeze the bum cheek, so squeeze the top buttock into the other one, and then down. So really feel that your hip bones are facing forward. Imagine it's just like they are headlights to the front. That's it. So the hips are stacked, one on top of the other. We try not to roll that top hip back. So it's often a smaller movement than you might think. You just open, hold for a squeeze, a bit more of a squeeze, and then close. Again, we can always take the arm overhead to create more space down the waist. And you may notice then there's a lifting or a sensation of lifting of the waist coming up from underneath. Because these muscles all co-contract to stabilize us and hold us in place as we draw the belly button to the spine. So breathing out as you open the knee, breathing in to hold, breathing out to lower. We'll try 3 more, but if you need to rest before, just settle the legs down. Maybe starting to feel that already in the outer part of the bottom. Good. So then we can give the other thigh a little bit of a tap here. Now, before we do the other side, let's come up to seated. We'll take a little stretch. So what we can do is sit here, and that top leg, the one we were just opening, take it over the other one. Hug the knee into your chest and put the hand down behind you and just take a little turn and look back. But really bring the knee in close to your chest as you can, just to feel that little stretch in that area we were working with. Good. Then from here, we're going to lie down again with our head at the other end of the mat for the other side. So nice and long in the legs. Now it could be quite different from one side to the other. Let's see. And we lengthen the top leg to begin with our circle. So circling is for mobilizing the hip. Squeeze the bottom to stabilize the hip. Good. with the belly button drawing in. Maybe again, there's a little lifting sensation or a gap from underneath. Some of us get a lifting sensation without a gap, and that's okay. Still involving the same muscles. So breathe out as you start the circle, breathe in as it completes. Remember, we can have the arm position in a place where we feel challenged, but it can keep our position. But if you prefer to have your hand on the floor in front of you for support, you can. Good. Try not to go too high in the leg. You want to keep it lengthened. So take the circle in the other direction. So we want to be aware that the foot doesn't really need to be any higher than your hip. Maintaining that squeeze on the outer part of the bottom, keeping the length down the side body, and working with your breath as you continue with the belly button drawing inwards. So just 2 or 3 more here. And then resting the leg there. We give the knees a little bend. A little tap to release if you need it. And come into our clown. So heels together. As you open the top knee, we dig the heels together. So press the top heel into the bottom heel. And then lower. Good. Hip bones facing forward. Keeping them stacked evenly, one on top of the other. As you open, squeeze the top buttock into the bottom buttock, and we notice that we're working the outer part of that top bum cheek. Gluteus medius, it's a stabilizing muscle of the hip. Great to help us with our balance and posture. Again, we can always think about where the arm is. Maybe the hand is on the floor, beside us, or overhead for length down the side body again. Keeping the belly button inwards, noticing that inner connection throughout. Letting the shoulders just draw down a little bit and working with your breath. Breathing out to open, breathing in to hold, breathing out to lower. Inhale, prepare, exhale, open again. So another 3 more here. But rest instead if you prefer. Good, releasing there. Maybe we just give the other guy a little bit of a tap. Excellent, come on up to seated. Have a little stretch there. So taking that top leg over the other one. Hug the knee in, lift the chest, and really draw that knee in close to your chest. So from here, in a seated position, take the legs either crossed or wide. And just make sure you can sit as upright as you can. If this is uncomfortable, bring the legs closer together, but wherever you are, really lift the chest and feel your shoulders are directly above your hips. So we want to keep a real lengthened spine. With the tummy drawing in, take the arms out wide. Feel free to adjust the legs at any time. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, we turn the waist to the right and come into our spine twist. We breathe in, hold, and then we breathe out, come back to center. Breathe in, hold, and then breathe out, go the other way. So it's a small movement. We're keeping our legs still, bottom glued to the floor, and the hip bones facing forwards. The movements from the waist and the upper back. We can stay with this if you wish, or we can add a little reach. We could turn to your right, hold, and then tip from the hip as your left hand goes towards your right foot. Doesn't have to touch it, it's just that direction. Then come on up, wide arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then turn the other way. Hold, and then tip. Reach towards the opposite foot. Keeping your bottom glued to the floor. So we're not lifting off the floor at all. We're moving from the waist, the upper back, and then tipping from the hip, but keep the shoulder down and then lengthen the spine. Now, when you reach, look past your toes rather than down at the leg. That way we keep a more lengthened position of the spine. If you start looking down at your leg, often we end up rounding our back, and we want to avoid that. We're looking for length. Good. So turn the waist as you draw the belly button in. Breathe out and just reach. I'm going to try a couple more on each side, but if you'd rather rest, shake out the legs anytime, feel free. Listen to your body. What often happens here is as we do a few, you naturally get a bit more range of movement. So you might find you're reaching further compared to where we started as you do a few more, and that's okay, that's good. Keep the shoulder blades squeezed together as you turn, then tip to reach. We're going to finish with the opposite side to where you started. And then from here, we can bring the legs in where they're probably more comfortable and roll the shoulders. Then we'll take the left hand to the floor, reach over for a side stretch. Keep the bottom on the floor. And then go the other way. Good, then from here we're going to come onto our front. You might want a pillow or something to put underneath your forehead, and we're going to lie with our arms in a surrender position on our front. So find your place, and then here take your hands just a little bit wider than the mat in that surrender position, and then draw your shoulders back so the shoulder blades are lined flat down your back. Just feel the hips find their place in a neutral space level with the mat. Draw the tummy in, take a breath in. As you breathe out, we squeeze the bottom and just lengthen up via the breastbone. So we can start with a small movement, keeping your forearms down, and then we lower. So great work to come in to strengthen the lower back, but we must keep that feeling of the belly button towards the spine and the bottom squeezing to support the back at the same time. So as you come up from the mat, we're lengthening from the breastbone to the crown of your head, keeping the spine long, chin tucked in. Now we can go a little bit further if you wish and if it's available to you. As we come up, you may want to try coming further to lengthen the arms, draw the elbows in, and then gently lower, bringing the elbows in and down. Please be aware we do not force anything. So go to your range of movement only. If you'd rather keep it small or it feels like you can't get any further, then don't go any further, that's fine. Now some of you might be happy to add, when we lower down, to then keep the bottom squeezed and let both legs float out off the floor. The legs come down, and the chest then floats up. So we put it together like a gentle rocking through the hips to go from one end of the body to the other. Again, the legs can be an option. Leave them on the floor if you prefer. And you can always only keep it small if you wish. Then the forearms stay down. And just keep into your own range of movement throughout. So you'll probably start to feel it in your lower back, which is fine, it's where you're working. Just a little bit of muscular tension, that's all we need. And so long as you're squeezing your bottom, Maintaining that feeling of the belly button drawing in, we're providing support at the same time. So let's try a couple more. Of course, you can rest, relax if you prefer instead at any time. And then from here, we can come into a little stretch, up onto your knees, back into your heels, just to ease through the back. You may want to take the knees wider so you can bring the chest down a bit more and the arms forward. Then we're going to roll over onto your back. As you come onto your back again, do then just bring the knees to the chest and rock gently in and out. So we prepare to come into our bridge, popping the feet on the floor, hip width apart. So from here, finding your position, arms just beside us and settle again into a neutral place first of all. Engage through the belly button, draw in, connect, take a breath in to prepare. And as you breathe out, tilting your hips back, squeeze your bottom, lift your bottom and peel each part of your spine off the floor and come to rest on or towards your shoulder blades. We try to get to a place, shoulders, hips, knees in line like a slope, and then gently melting down. Upper back, middle back, lower back towards the mat and the bottom down last. So feel you're going segmentally through each part of the spine. Take your time. You don't even have to do it at the same time as me. Go to your pace, your range of movement. If we're a little bit stiff here in the lower back or the middle back, you may find you don't get all the way up to start with, and that's okay. Just go to your range of movement, like I say. If we are going all the way up, that's all good. We can lift the hips, come into that slope position, shoulders, hips, knees in line. And let's lift the heels, keep squeezing the bottom, come onto the balls of your feet. And as you hold that there, can you also take your arms back? Then the arms come down, the heels lower, and the body melts back into the mat. Now, if you'd rather just lift the heels without letting the arms go back, please do. Putting it all together straight away might not be right for you, and that's okay. Just do a heel lift, bring them down, and come out of bridge. Or as we come into bridge, we hold our hips high. We try lifting the heels, keeping the butt squeezed. Arms float, draw the ribs downwards, belly button in, arms back, heels down, gently melting into the floor, allowing the bottom to find the floor last every single time. So keep the knees in line with the toes, especially as you get higher up here. Keep squeezing the bottom throughout. Heels, arms. Holding the hips up as the arms go back, especially if you're using the arms. Remember, the arms could be an option. Upper back, middle back, lower back, bottom last. Good. So you feel like we're opening the front of the body as you lift the hips up. Keep the belly button drawn in throughout. Feel centered, stable, and secure. So we'll just do a couple more, and if you wish, when we're up there with our heels up and the arms going back, we can maybe hold it a bit longer and let the arms go back and forth twice. Really focusing on squeezing your bottom to keep your hips up. Good. So maybe becoming a little bit more aware of those bum muscles now, using those bum muscles to take you up and of course, hold you up. So high in the hips. Really squeeze the bum, lift the heels. Arms go back and forth, twice if you can, less if you wish. And then this time we bring the heels down, gently bring the body down, and just hug the knees to the chest. As we hug the knees to the chest, we can bring them in and circle them around. Good. Then popping the feet on the floor, take the knees to one side and come up to kneeling. In a kneeling position, we're going to take your left leg out to the side. Now, if you want to roll the mat up or put cushion under your knees, please feel free. And then just try and tilt the hips a little bit so they come underneath your shoulders. You may get a stretch on the inside leg. Breathe out and slide down, little side bend. Breathe in, hold, and then breathe out, come back. Good. Keeping the belly button towards the spine, the chest lifted, and just come across. That's it. So you're just squeezing into one side of the waist and opening through the other. Good, so we can stay with this, or the next time we can ease down, and as we come back, can you put your right hand on the floor, maybe on a pillow if you don't want to go all the way down, and then lift up the leg, and then go again. So option to put the hand down or just continue as before. Take your time, there's no rush. Good. 2 more. Placing the hand, lifting the leg, little hold, and then again. And then we just prepare for the other side. So from here, find a bit of space if you need to. Have space to take the other leg out to the side. Come over here a bit. Have that foot flat to the floor if you can. Square off the hips and then slide down the straight leg. Come back. So we'll just do the first 4, keeping the chest up, just coming into that side bend, kneeling. Squeezing one side of the waist, opening through the other. Good. And then next time we can add that leg lift if you wish. So let's pop the hand down and lift up. Good. If it feels like a long way down to put your hand on the floor, you can always put a block, pillow, book, whatever you want to put your hand on so you've not got to go so low. And then we'll just do one more. So lifting that leg, little hold, and then popping it down. Good. From here, we can then bring the knees to the floor, tuck the toes, and with the hands down, we're going to push the heels into the floor and come into a forward fold. Let the head and the hands just hang, and you may notice a stretch in the back of the legs. Push the heels down and the chest towards your thighs. Keep a softness about the knees, and with the belly button drawing in, tuck the tail and very slowly roll up. Please go slow and feel like you're rebuilding the spine, putting each part of it back in its place one at a time. Lifting the chest, rolling the shoulders back and looking forwards. So here We're standing with our feet hip width apart. Roll the shoulders back again, let the arms lengthen down beside you. With a squeeze at the bottom, we draw the belly button in and lift up through the heels, come into the space above your head. Let the arms float in front and circle one arm, keeping the rest of your body still. Changing arms when you're ready. Still working with your balance, do one more each side. Keeping the body centered and stable as you circle the arms while you balance. And then bringing both arms down and the heels down. Roll the shoulders. Good. Then here we lift again, arms to shoulder height, squeeze the bottom. And this time we're going to open your left arm, turn the waist and look to the side. And then bring it back around. Now, if you really need to put the heels down, please feel free. But try and work with your balance. Squeeze the bottom to help you balance. One more each side, turning to open. Draw the shoulder blade in. Good. And then bring in the arms and the heels down. Good, roll the shoulders. Now, this time, we lift the heels and the hands, hold it there, and then we're going to turn the waist again, but draw one arm back like a bow and arrow. So I'll just show you from the side. And then bring it in front. That's it. And then the other. So lead with the elbow, bring the arm back close to the side of your body, and then in front. One more each side. Really squeeze the bottom. Keep the belly button towards the spine. It all helps you balance. Feel a turn, a little bit of rotation here as you look back. Good. And then let the arms lower, the heels lower, and roll the shoulders. Now this time, squeeze the right buttock and lift up your left arm and leg. Hold it there as you circle the arm 4 times. So really try and keep your balance with one foot off the floor. If you prefer, you can have the toes down closer to the floor and just lift the heel. And then step down. Other side. Squeeze the left buttock first. Breathe out. Lift the arm and leg. Circle the arm 4 times. You can have the foot closer to the floor if you prefer, but really try and work with your balance as you move through the arm and the shoulder. Good. And then step down, roll the shoulders. Excellent. So from here, this time, we're just going to lift the leg by itself. Turn the knee out and then back in. So continue with that. So standing with the right leg, squeezing. Tighten up the thigh muscle. Squeeze the bum cheek. Again, you can have the foot closer to the floor, toe down, turn out if you prefer, but still continue to work squeezing that right buttock. We're stabilizing the hips while we stand and balance. We'll do 2 more. So become a little bit more aware of the bottom again, that right one. Good. And then step down. Prepare for the other side. Squeeze the left bum cheek, lift the right leg. Remember, you can keep the foot closer to the floor if you prefer, but still turn the knee out each time. Hip bones face forward. Try and keep standing legs still. So it doesn't have to be a big movement. We continue with the belly button drawing in. Good. One more. And then take that right leg behind the other one. Reach up and over. Open through the side body. Keep the hips facing forward. Releasing there, change sides. Take the other leg behind. So your left leg could be behind. It's your left arm that lifts. And reach. And here, separate the feet again to hip width. Link the hands in front. Tuck the chin and feel like you're separating the shoulder blades. Just stretch the upper back. Then bringing the hands behind you, open the chest, draw the shoulders back and lift the chest. Let's now lift the heels again, and as you balance, turn your head just to one side. Come back to center, and then the other side. Good. Come back to center, lower the heels, roll the shoulders, and tuck the chin. Take a look down. Notice maybe there's a stretch in the back of the neck. Then slowly lift your head, look forwards, lift your shoulders, and let them drop. One more time. Tuck the chin, take a look to the feet or the floor. Slowly lift your head, look forward. Relax the shoulders, but now lift them and let them drop. With the arms hanging light and loose beside you, we can press the feet into the floor and lift the chest. Feel length from the tail to the top of the head as you stand into your own true height. Take a deep breath in and then out. So we revisit that lateral thoracic breath, breathing full and wide through the lungs, the ribs, the thoracic spine, and then settle down. Breathing in, breathing out. Keep the shoulders down. 2 more breaths to be aware. Still keeping the tummy drawn in. As you breathe out this time, just soften the knees and give the legs a little shake. Thank you very much indeed. Well done.